Hello, welcome to the Real Bit Wars. I'm Chris, and I've got some new stuff to show you today, including a few NES games. But first, I've got some other pickups I'd like to show. Starting with, you know me and my Ninja Turtles music collection, so this is the soundtrack to that anime series that they did in Japan. Never came out in the US, it's never been translated to English. This is somewhat of a holy grail for Ninja Turtle music collectors, if that's really a thing. Maybe I'm the only one, I don't know. But it took me a long time to find an affordable copy of this, and I'm really excited that it's finally in my collection. And speaking of Ninja Turtles, I also read this book, Teenage Ninja to Mutant Turtle. If you notice here, becoming the real Raphael, R-E-E-L, by Ken Scott, who is most known for playing Raphael in the first two Ninja Turtle movies. This is pretty cool. He has done a lot of work as a stuntman, and I didn't really have the highest expectations going into this, but I enjoyed it a lot. And an interesting fact in here is he actually wore his pizza delivery outfit to sneak into the studio where he met a casting director, which is how he first got the contact, which allowed him to get in when they started filming the first Ninja Turtles movie. I thought that was kind of ironic. There's plenty of other stuff just like that in here. Although it's not made out to my name, it says some other people's names in here. He autographed this. I didn't know that when I'd ordered it online, so that's kind of neat. Oh, isn't that just adorable? He got Raphael's autograph. Dude, that'll look so cute next to your signatures from Vanilla Ice and Tommy Wiseau. Oh, no. Good night, guys. I'll see you in the morning. So a couple more books here. I read this one called The Science of Jurassic World, and I enjoyed it enough that I looked for something by these same two authors, and they did one called The Science of Star Wars, and I thought, oh, what the heck, man, I'll check that out also. This one, it almost does it a disservice to associate it with Star Wars. It is just chock full of information. However, Star Wars does serve as a pretty good reference point for this stuff, as a way of sort of putting it into layman's terms. But more on this one. I did previously read a book called The Science of Jurassic Park. There's also another one called The Science of Michael Crichton. Those are both pretty decent books. Although there's plenty of humor in here, it doesn't take itself too seriously. This one also has a lot of interesting information in it. But to dive a little deeper into this subject matter, we have a special guest. So please welcome back to the show, Professor Duff. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Pardon me. Oh yes, of course. Please continue. So, if you recall in the film, there's a scene where Dr. Stadler is elbows deep in a dung heap. And then Dr. Malcolm comments on the size of the, dino, droppings. Anyhow, I'd like to read an excerpt from the book now. Pooping is more than just emptying the bowels. Consider the dung-dropping behavior of rhinos. They're one of many mammals that defecate communally in dung piles called middens. That's interesting, I didn't know that. According to a 2017 study from South Africa, these middens may act as a way for rhinos to communicate territorially. If a similar thing were done by Triceratops, the pile could have been the result of many different poopatrators. Bro, I didn't even know that was a word. Although, to be fair, the dung in these middens is generally spread out rather than piled in a mountainous heap. So, you see what we're saying here is, in the scene, the pile's a little large. I mean, it stacks up a little bit higher than the Triceratops' butt, which makes it unfeasible. Dare I say unfeasible. Did you know that fossilized dino doo-doos are called coprolites? Oh, that's very fascinating. Anyhow, if you were paying close attention, the pile which Dr. Malcolm comments on is actually not the same one which Dr. Stadler is digging into. That was kind of nasty though, wasn't it? So I'd like to bring your attention to this diagram I made. So yes, as we can see, a Triceratops bottom is only yay tall, and the dung heap was a little bit too big for that. However, if a Triceratops was standing on top of something like, say, a platform, or maybe the top of a steep hill, it could feasibly poop into a large pile like that. I mean, sure, why not, right? However, I have another theory. Perhaps the workers at the park were simply using shovels to put all of the poo into a big pile, and they were gonna, like, use it as fertilizer or something. Very interesting stuff. Thank you for joining us, Professor Duff. Thanks for having me. It was fun. I did have a birthday a while back. No need to wish me happy birthday because I'm way behind on these videos. But one of the things I got from my wife was this beer here, which she got for me because it has Godzilla on it. She knows I'm obsessed with that. So we haven't had a beer on the show in a while. Well, I haven't had one on the show in a while. Very dry and hoppy. Little citrus tang going on in there. Not great, but not bad. It's drinkable. But yeah, the can is what drew her in. So thank you to my wife for that beer. And speaking of Godzilla, I have a pickup here. A DVD of Shin Godzilla. This was actually the last of the live-action Godzilla movies that I needed for my collection. I was looking through stuff at the thrift store, and it was upside down like this, and I kept just scanning right past it, because I'm like, what the heck does that even say? I realized it was upside down, and holy cow, man, this sells for a decent amount of money still. So to find it for a couple of dollars at a thrift store was really exciting, and I cannot wait to watch this one. And speaking of birthday gifts, my buddy Mike gave me something also. Let's check that out real quick. We have an NES homebrew game here. This is Beat 'em and Eat 'em. It looks like perhaps after you defeat the enemies, you go out for ice cream or something. I don't know. Let's pop this in and find out what it's all about. Alright, I got my trusty NES Max controller here. Let's see. Oh. Oh my. Oh! No! Oh my god, bro, that's nasty. Woo! I could use some more beer after that. So before we get to the rest of those NES games, I do have some new records that I picked up. This is Ho FX. It's No Effects with Don Ho. That's kind of a weird pairing. I don't think Don Ho is actually on the record other than the picture. And next, we have the Record Store Day version from 2021 of the Beastie Boys Aglio e Olio special vinyler. This is clear. Can you see me? This one I had never heard of. Jonah Ray. I didn't know who the heck that was. Turns out he has worked on some like websites. He does a lot of comedy stuff. He is also on the current iteration of Mystery Science Theater 3000. But this EP he released a few years back actually features a bunch of Weird Al cover songs, and they are so phenomenal, man. I'm really glad I picked this up. And again, we have some colored vinyl for this one. Alright, so last but not least, let's get to those NES games. I picked up 3 PAL exclusives to add to my collection, and as I always say, given the size of my collection, it's kind of rare when I do get new NES games. Doesn't happen that often. So the first one we have here is Rainbow Islands. So again, PAL exclusive, you can tell by that A there. And that is not to be confused with the Rainbow Islands that we got here in the United States. These are actually 2 different games. So, and next up, 4-player tennis. Not the most exciting thing in the world. This one actually was released here under a different title. So technically I had it in my collection, but anytime something was released under a different name like that, those are just kind of variations that I seek to add to my collection. So alright, hooray for tennis. And finally, we have Tecmo World Cup Soccer, not to be confused with Tecmo Cup Soccer Game. That's right, this one we got here, this one we did not, but they are completely different games. This is more of a conventional soccer game with like a top-down aspect to it, and this one, believe it or not, is a soccer RPG. So for that alone, it gets plenty of uniqueness points for me, and I'd say this is actually kind of something that's a little bit of an oddity worth checking out. This one, however, was pretty forgettable. Even for a soccer game, there's not really anything that noteworthy about it. But that does it for today. Thank you very much for watching The Real Bit Wars. So no joke, this is how Tommy Wiseau sent me his autograph. There's this flyer for one of his movies with him in a bloody head. The picture itself says, "To Chris, Love is Blind. Love Tommy Wiseau. And the entire thing was inside a bag for underwear. There's also an advertisement in there with a size chart for the underwear. Thanks, Tommy.